Hello everybody, welcome to my video again. So after my sharing about Lelouch, now I would like to start with my sharing of character analysis of Suzaku Kurugi of the anime Code Geass. So now I would like to share my screen with everyone. So to be honest, I am much more energetic and eager about Suzaku than Lelouch. I still like Lelouch more than Suzaku, but the analyzing of the character Suzaku is going to be very complicated and very challenging. And that's the reason why I also find it to be more interesting. So to start, let's go and meet Suzaku. Okay, there he is. So Suzaku is this young man here with brown hair and green eyes, and he's wearing the Britannia High School uniform here. And this is Lancelot. So Lancelot is like it's like the robot that Suzaku always uses robot in battle, and you get to see Lancelot a lot in action. The irony is that Suzaku, although he is Lelouch's friend, he always fights against Lelouch during the battle, and then during the fight he will use Lancelot in his fight. All right, so now let's start with the first event of the anime. So I usually go with the chronological order. So I will go back to like in the year 2010. So this was the time when Lelouch was sent to Japan with his sister uh, as as like hostage by King Charles. So they were used as political tools when they were about 10 years old. And they got transferred from Britannia to Japan to stay with Suzuki's family. And about a year later, I think also in the same year, Britannia used Nightmare to colonize Japan. So what did Suzuki think when he was only 10, right? So Suzuki, he was somebody who hates wars. Like he's like a pacifier. He doesn't like fighting. And he's also a very nice person, so he doesn't mind helping others in need. And he became friends with Lelouch and Nunnally while they stay over at his house. See, so there's a quote here. I don't need a reason to save who I want to save. All right, so it's like he has a very heroic and generous personality. He doesn't mind helping others in need. And back then, his relationship circle includes Nunnally, Lelouch, Kaguya. Kaguya is his cousin, and the Japanese Prime Minister Genbu Kurugi. So his father, Mr. Genbu, is also during that time was the Japanese Prime Minister. So like he would be taking care of the the warfare and the like kind of like a leader of the army. And there I will show you a happy picture. Yay. So this one. So this is when Suzaku was uh rescuing Nunnally from falling down a slope, and there's Lelouch. I'm just gonna make this bigger. This is Lelouch carrying two umbrellas running from behind. I'm pretty sure Lelouch didn't really exercise much, so he would be weaker than Suzaku, but he can still take very good care of his sister. Anyway, the three kids got along very well when they were kids. So good story time over. Now to the more tragic part of Suzaku's past. So Suzaku, his past is also very complicated, and so so during the fight with Britannia, right? Britannia was the one who started the war, and they wanted to invade Japan, right? But of course, Suzaku's father, Mr. Genbu, he he wanted to fight back, and Suzaku he tried to convince his father not to wage war against, not to not to join the war, but his father didn't listen to him, and and they had a very tense argument, and Suzaku, I'm not sure if it's intentional or something, but during the mid of the argument, he killed his father to prevent the war between Japanese and Britannian. I mean, I think he was already just 10 years old. He probably wasn't that much aware of his action. But so this is Suzaku. He basically stabbed his father, stabbed his father's in the stomach with a knife. So that's how he killed his father. So because he killed Mr. Genbo, the war didn't happen, but basically Japanese just unconditionally surrender before the Britannian, and the Britannians they took over Japan, and Japan became Area 11. Be, because Mr. Genbo died, and all the people they just assume that his death means that kind of like surrendering, and basically Japan surrendered before they got any chance to fight back. So let's see. So I would like to talk a little bit about my criteria of analyzing Suzaku. Is that for Suzaku, I also analyze based on the time, like the time of event that happened, but I only analyze him based on his mindset and behaviors, his quotes, relationship. But because Suzaku he doesn't have geese, so I don't include the geese, the victims under geese power, and also the people who died because of him as well. So uh, Lelouch has those two comments because he got the gaze power, and I want to say if he really killed someone. But Suzaku, he doesn't have gaze power, and he he does kill people because he was in the army. At the beginning, he doesn't really kill because he wants to make peace, but later he engages in more war, and I think there would be casualties. But but because Suzaku he fights under the name of Britannia, right? So basically he doesn't really kill because he wants to kill. But that doesn't really justify that he's innocent or anything. But the thing here is that I don't want to focus too much on that aspect in my analysis of Suzaku. At least I think he kills way much less than Lelouch anyway. At least that's in my opinion. So Suzaku is interesting not because of his intelligence or his power, but it is because of his growth as a person who is just like any other people. He's not intelligent, he's not too talented, and he doesn't have his power. He's obviously not the main character here, but he's just like any other normal people who's struggling through lives, but like he also has very complicated internal conflicts. So that's the reason why It's interesting to analyze him. So I also have, of course, slides and my paragraph analysis to assist me in the process of analyzing Suzaku. So let's just, I'm just gonna read through the first paragraph here. So Suzaku Kururugi season one. So from the beginning of the series, Suzaku was an upright person who hated wars and prioritized others' well-being before his own. So, uh, he even killed his father to prevent the war between Japan and Britannia. And because of that action, he always felt guilty and decided to join Britannia's military to prevent war from happening. So basically, he felt guilty, and and he actually wanted to die to atone for his sin, right? But because basically dying is one way for him to atone for his sin, and another way is that he joined the Britannia's military to prevent people from dying, and that's also his way of expressing his intention of making up for killing his father. However, joining the military, especially Britannia's military, will contradict the reality. Actually, Britannia is basically waging war and they are invading other countries and they're also attacking, killing other people from other countries to take over their land, right? So basically, if Suzaku joins the Britannian military to prevent death and war from happening, then it is very contradicting. I don't understand why in the beginning why he did that. Um, but I guess it's his own way of trying to prevent war from happening. Although it's very contradicting to each other. Joining the military to prevent war from happening, right? Especially Britannia's military. And also Suzaku has uh has a goal to change Britannia from inside. And basically, he would probably join the army and then he would get promoted. And when he climbed higher position in the Britannian system, he will be able to make changes, probably through changing the policy, changing people's mindsets. But it's gonna take a very long time, and we don't know how is that gonna happen, right? But the biggest problem here is that although he wants to change Britannia inside from the inside, he 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 also has the tendency to die. So he basically, usually, if he joins a battle, he might doesn't he will give up his life, right? He doesn't mind dying because he wants to die to atone for his action of killing his father. So basically, before he actually managed to change the system of Britannia, he probably would die before he would achieve that, right? So, and he's also very obedient. Basically, he would never disobey his order. And that would also cause a problem because if he wants to make changes to Britannia's system, which is very discriminating in the first place, if he just obeys orders, then how is he going to change the system? And that is one other thing. So you can see that the contradicting in Suzuki's ideology is like everywhere. And and that's the reason why the first time I watched this anime, I really hate Suzaku. Like I don't know why he even exists in the first place. I don't know why the author, the art, the The writer even involved Suzaku in the anime because he doesn't make sense at all. His ideology is everywhere. Lelouch, at least he has more reasonable arguments, and his ideology on politics is at least more correct. But 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 if you look at Suzaku's past and respect his own ideology uh, as his own, then you get to understand why Suzaku acted that way. So that is also what's very good about analysis, is that you get to see everything in a clearer picture. All right, that is Suzaku's past and also ideology. So I think that Suzaku also carried the burden of murder, like killing his father when he was only 10 years old, right? So he has to cope with that guilt until he got into high school. So probably like 14 until 14 or 15 or something, right? That's like a very long time. And then he has to cope with that feeling of guilt. All right, so let's talk about the Shinjuku fight. So remember, the Shinjuku fight is also the first event that Lelouch assisted the resistance in fighting against Prince Clovis' army, right? And during that time, where's Suzaku? So I'll just provide a little context. Is that so this is Suzaku. He started as, a normal soldier for Britannia's army. And remember, he met Lelouch when so that Lelouch he got onto the train of the terrorists, right, of the resistance, and he met CC there. So it was like a bomb that it was said that it was supposed to be a poisonous gas, but inside that bomb was actually CC, right? And uh, Suzaku also encountered Lelouch at that incident as well. And basically, so I will bring out this. So they just met a little briefly. They talked only a little bit, and then Britannians guards appear. So these are the guards, and these guards, they try to kill Lelouch. They tried to shoot because they thought that Lelouch was kind of like related to the terrorists somehow, and he told Suzaku to shoot Lelouch, but Suzaku he defended Lelouch, saying that Lelouch is actually he's related to the terrorists, but because Suzaku he decided not to shoot, the guards shot him instead, and thankfully he didn't die. So and it's very reckless, you see. It's like Suzaku already knew that he might get shot by the soldiers there if he disobeyed the orders, but he still did it anyway. So he really didn't he didn't feel scared of being shot at, or being killed at all. So it is like the tendency of, wanting to die. But fortunately, he didn't die because of this shot. And also after he got after that he got rescued by the medics, and he got treated and didn't die. And he's still worried about Lelouch. Like he asked the people if Lelouch was safe. All right. See, he said that I won't shoot a civilian. That's what he said when he argued against the soldier that shot him. All right, so when he so I'm going to talk about the relationship here. So during the Shinjuku fight, he already knew Nunnally, Lelouch, and then Lloyd. So Lloyd, I will have pictures of him later. He has white hair, and he is actually a noble, like an earl. So he belongs to kind of like uh the high class. But he just doesn't sit around drinking tea and doing nothing, but he's more interested in making their fighting robots and technology and stuffs. So he follows that path, and Cecile is Lloyd's assistant. So Lloyd and Cecile, they work for the special police force, and that group isn't exactly it's kind of just working independently, and they are not very acknowledged by the Britannian system very much. So it's just like a research group that has like a robot they make Lancelot, the white robot that Suzaku ride. So so Lloyd and Cecile, they were the one who took care of Suzaku when he was injured, and they were actually trying to find a pilot for the robot Lancelot. And they just happened to find Suzaku, right? And they want Suzaku to be kind of like uh testing, right? To become a pilot so that they can test if Lancelot works. So So what happened was that during the fight between the Resistance and Clovis' army, of course, after Clovis, with Lelouch's assistance, the Resistance was able to fight and win against Clovis' army. But because of that, Suzaku also engaged in the fight by piloting the Lancelot, and he fight back against the terrorists. And that was also the first time um, Suzaku fought against Lelouch, and they still don't know about each other, but obviously they fought each other. So let's see. During the fight, so Suzaku he's basically he cares about the surrounding. So when he was fighting with Lelouch, so basically, Lelouch was running, right? And Lancelot chased after him. Lelouch was in a nightmare as well. And there was a woman with her baby falling from a building, and Suzaku stopped to save them. Um, Although he did something very noble, very great, but because he was in the middle of chasing the loot, right? But he just stopped in the middle and do something else. And even though he managed to save the mother and her child, he lets Lelouch escape. So that was when Lelouch he got out of the nightmare, and he was able to go through the security and get in and approach Clovis. So basically the irony here is that Suzaku was able to save like the mother and the child, but in exchange, Lelouch was able to use that opportunity to approach and kill Clovis. So because of a very uh, noble action, you save someone, right? Suzaku, he saved the lives. He saved two lives. But in exchange, Clovis died. Prince Clovis died, and after that is also a chain of war. So if you track it back from the incident of Suzaku killing his father, he also he kills his father, which is one person, but the entire Japan lost their freedom, right? And still war still happens. Britannia is not gonna stop at Japan. They're gonna invade other countries. Basically, and of course, because the Japanese they didn't get a chance to fight back to protect their country. Because of that, the resistance, so many people want to fight back because they will start asking questions like, why didn't we fight back to protect our countries? And revolution happens, right? The resistance, they also want to fight for freedom, for independence. Yeah, so and and years later, Suzaku, instead of instead of killing lives like he kills his father, he saves someone instead. But even though he saves someone, war still happens. Like Prince Clovis still dies, and there's still war happening, even bigger wars and more deaths. Because when Clovis died, Cornelia came and she wants to avenge Clovis' death, and then more deaths still happen in order to, because Britannian will fight against the resistance, right? So basically, no matter you kill someone to stop war or you save someone, war will still happen no matter what you do. So you might you might wonder why I am sharing about this point. So the problem is that later on, when Zero appears and the Black Knight established, Suzaku he doesn't like Zero because he doesn't like how Zero do things, right? Like Lelouch, he uses his geese power and he also use tricks in order to achieve the results. So as long as the result is achieved, the methods doesn't matter. That is Zero's ideology. But for Suzaku, he wants to he he wants to do things, achieve results using the right method. But because using the right methods doesn't mean that you can achieve the results that you want. That's the reason why I share about Suzaku saving people, and even though Suzaku save save people here, wars still happen, right? You can't stop it. And then back then when he kills his father in order to prevent war, later on war still happens. So basically uh it really challenged the ideology of whether using the right methods can achieve the desirable results. So that is also a very big contrast between the ideology of Suzuki and Lelouch. All right. Sorry if it got a little lengthy. Um, yes, and the basically after he saved the mother, Lelouch got to see Clovis and then killed him. And and, um, and after he after that, Suzaku got wrongly accused to be to be the one who killed Prince Clovis. You remember Jeremiah? Yeah, so Jeremiah was the one who forced Suzaku to admit that he was the one who killed Prince Clovis, and and Suzaku almost died because of that as well. But but Zero managed to rescue him. I wonder if I don't think I have pictures for that, but I think we'll be okay with the analysis. So after he got rescued by Zero, Suzaku had a short talk with Lelouch, and he said that he knew that Britannia was rotten, right? But because he was wrongly accused of killing Clovis and many other stuff that he saw in the system that is rotten, but he still wanted to change Britannia and the system for the better from the inside. Yeah. So he said that I can change Britannia into a worthy nation from the inside. And uh, down here, he didn't want to disobey the rules, knowing that he was framed for killing. So so after finishing the talk with Lelouch, he still came back to to the prison, to Britannia's prison, in order to receive the punishment. So he thinks that if he runs away and if he breaks out of prison, many people will got involved. For example, because he is like a Japanese, right? And for example, if he runs away from prison, then maybe also the Japanese will get negatively affected as well. So he cares a lot about other people. But deep down inside, Suzaku also wants to die. That is like, it's kind of like his way of atoning for his father's death, but it's really deep inside. So you can't really see it very clearly. Um, he also believed that the results are worthless if the means to achieve them are wrong. See? And he also prioritized people's benefits before his own. So I think the results are just as worthless if the means to them are wrong. If I'm going to die, I want to do it for the sake of everyone. Yeah, so you see it's kind of like a mix, right? Probably because of the way he was raised. So he was raised to be someone who thinks about other people's benefits. So that is true. Like that is the good part about Suzaku. But the problem here is that he still wants to die to atone for his father's for killing his father. So imagine that if he if he's a good person, he wants to change Britannia, but if he just wants to sacrifice his life and he doesn't know how to protect his own ideology and just obey orders, then how is he going to change Britannia, right? That's the reason why Lelouch is necessary, and and because of Lelouch, Suzaku also changes as well, and you will see that in during the whole process of watching the anime. All right, and now I would like to talk about Euphemia. So, so now during 2017, right? So he got to meet Princess Euphemia. So I don't make an analysis of Euphemia, but you can kind of like understand that Princess Euphemia is also someone who wants to change Britannia from the better. So to reduce the discrimination between the Britannian and the Japanese, and create peace and erase war, something like that. So she has the same ideology as Suzaku. The better part is that she doesn't want to die, or she doesn't have to atone for any sins at all, but she's also a pacifier and someone who also wants to help Suzaku to bring peace to everybody. But during this time, both of them are still in the process of finding the solutions to bring the to solve the problem of war. And I think I have pictures. So this is Princess Euphemia and Suzaku. So they just kind of like met. They just encountered each other, and um, and Princess Euphemia, she accompanied with Suzaku to the Shinjuku ghetto. So basically, that place is like it's just like a ruin now, and it's just graveyards and everything was destroyed, and people don't even live there anymore because well, because I think the terror, not the terrorists, sorry, the resistance, I think they have to move to other locations because if they stay there, they're gonna get killed, right? And so it's just like a wasteland. And Euphemia, she asked Suzaku to bring her there to see what's left. So what she saw was just, graveyards. And what happened was that during the sharing between Suzaku and Euphemia, when they were at the Shinjuku ghetto, um, Suzaku shared that he also wanted to create a world ridden of the cycle of hatred as well as wars. So Lelouch also has the same goal, but the difference is that he wasn't sure, Suzaku wasn't sure of how to create a world without war. While Lelouch, he wanted to create a peaceful world by being the winner, right? So Lelouch wants to have a war in order to destroy Britannia, and he wants to be the winner in that war. When Suzaku, obviously he's a pacifier, he doesn't want to wage more war. He wants to avoid it. And and he also doesn't know how to achieve it. But there's one thing is that he doesn't want to kill people. Yeah, so he said, I don't want anyone to lose any more loved ones. So that is very generous of him. Like he cares about the grief of other people losing their loved ones instead of just saying to himself like, "Oh, I don't want to have more war because I don't want to lose my loved ones." But he said that he don't want other people to lose their loved ones. So that's also a good part about Suzaku. And the other thing is that if I stop trying, then my father's death will have been in vain. So basically, mm, yeah. So if you read this sentence, then you will think like, oh, maybe his father died because he died in because of the war. That's the reason why Suzuki wants to stop war because his father died because of the war. But the truth is that Suzaku was the one who killed his own father to stop war, right? But the problem is that war didn't stop, and and he feels guilty about killing his father. So he tried his best to prevent war from happening, and so that his father's death wouldn't be in vain. So that is like the dark truth about Suzaku is that his father really dies because of war. But it is because he was the one who kills his own father, not because he died during the battle or anything. Yes, that is the complicated, conflicting part in the in Suzaku's past. So what another incident happened, right? Was that Jeremiah again. So Jeremiah was the one who wrongly framed Suzaku, and Zero, he used the geese. Remember? He used the geese on Jeremiah and ordered him to release Suzaku, right? And because of that, uh, the other Britannian soldiers, they think that is the action of betrayal. So Jeremiah, they just let Suzaku go, right? And it's kind of like an act of betrayal, Britannian system. So the other soldiers decided to gang up on him in order to kill him as a punishment. And what happened is that Suzaku jumped in. So he jumped in the landslord and engaged in the battle to stop the others Britannian soldiers from ganging up on Jeremiah. So this is Jeremiah in the middle, and there are actually four nightmares. So this one over here is like also a nightmare here, and one, two, three, four. So four of them gang up on Jeremiah. And Suzaku, although Jeremiah was the one who forced Suzaku to take all the blame of killing Prince Clovis, Suzaku still jumped in to to rescue Jeremiah, right? So basically, Suzaku didn't want to have meaningless battle. And then that's the reason why he still jumped in order to stop the fight. And the Princess Euphemia was also there, and because and this is when I think this is also the beginning of Princess Euphemia starting to work towards the direction of creating a peaceful world. So, well, everything needs some kind of a starting point, right? And I think this is really where this is really the time when Princess Euphemia and Suzaku started working towards the direction of peace. That's the reason why um I think that's the reason why Suzaku wanted to fight against Zero, because they have different political ideology, right? Lelouch would want to destroy the current system in order to create a new and better world. While Suzuki, he doesn't want to kill more people. He doesn't want more death. And it would be better to solve everything with peaceful intentions. But ironically, they still have to fight. But the thing here is that in the first season, Suzaku he still has he's still a pacifier, and whenever he has to fight with Zero, he holds back. He holds back. He held back a lot. Like he didn't really fight with killing intentions, but more like because he just did it out of duty. Because he was ordered to fight Zero, and he didn't really fight in order to, like eliminate the target or something. Because deep down inside, Suzaku still wants to, make peace. Um, all right. So finally, Euphemia, after she knew Suzaku, she also allowed Suzaku to attend the same high school as Lelouch. And so Suzaku and Lelouch has a special signal with each other, right? So putting on the shirt collar and basically it showed that they were very close friends. So um after the event when they stay together when they're 10 years old, after the war happened, the war between Britannia and Japan, and after Britannia invaded Japan, so Lelouch got separated from Suzaku, and they were separated until the Shinjuku incident happened, right? So until high school, they finally met each other again. So even though they were separated for so long, they are very close. And um Suzaku, he worried about Lelouch is that he was glad that Lelouch was safe after the Shinjuku incident, and he's also afraid that other students would treat Lelouch and his sister badly if they hang out together, right? So Suzaku, he's kind of like isolated at school because he is originally he's a Japanese, but he joins the Britannian military and becomes a honorary Britannian. So, honorary Britannian is someone who is a Japanese, but they decided to become a Britannian instead. So they kind of have to reject their Japanese nationality and adopt and swear to be a Britannian. So that is what an honorary Britannian. So that should be good, right? Because he went to a Britannian school and he's already an honorary Britannian. But the thing is that because of the discrimination, the Britannian students are still afraid of him and they don't want to associate with him. So, so that's the reason why Suzaku was afraid that if he hangs out with Lelouch, then other students will also isolate Lelouch as well. So yeah, but uh, but thanks to Lelouch, he created a chance so that Suzaku can also join the student council in order to make more friends and avoid being bullied as well. So, so I think I don't have pictures for this event, so I will move on. So what's important about the event here is that kind of like wants to show that the relationship between Lelouch and Suzaku started out very, very nice. There was no conflict between them, right? But but it's just because that they don't know that they were actually fighting each other. So Lelouch was zero and Suzaku was in the Lancelot, the white robot, and they would definitely start fighting in the future. So, so during the Sunken Hotel incident, so in this incident, the so one member of the Japan Liberation Front, I think his name is Kusakabe or something, right? He was the one who he kind of like captured some of the Britannian tourists and and then he kept them as hostage at the hotel, right? And that was this at this incident, Zero also got to establish the Black Knights. And I also analyzed this during my sharing about Lelouch character already. Maybe you guys might remember. And of course, I use the same name for the event for Suzuki as well because he was also involved in this event. So, so during this event, Suzuki has a task, right? He was tasked to kind of like he has to destroy the base of the hotel so that they will sink, right? In order to rescue the hostage. But but before he got to do anything, Lelouch managed to rescue the hostage, and he also managed to establish the Black Knights. So during this episode, we got to know more about Suzaku's mindset. Is that he wanted to get recognized by the Britannian system. So obviously, this is his idea, right, of getting accepted by the Britannian system and being promoted in the system so that hopefully he will get more power and his voice will become more influential, right? So that he can try to change the system somehow. Well, that would really work if Britannian is a very good government, but obviously it is not that much of a good government, so more conflicts will happen in the future when Suzuki wants to change the system. So so here is also his tendency to sacrifice himself to save other people. So if they need me and Lancelot to give them a chance to be saved, then I will do it. Yeah, even if it means being a decoy. So so can you see the problem here is that he wants to change Britannian system, but he doesn't care about sacrificing himself to save other people. He knows that he was used as a decoy, so he knows that the system is using him, but he's okay with it, right? As long as other people is saved. But the problem here is that if he dies so early, how can he change the Britannian system into a better system, right? So you will see a lot of conflict like this within Suzaku. So, so when I share like that, maybe you think that Suzaku is a very two-faced person, right? He's like so I think there's a word for it like hypocrisy or something, right? So it's like he's not very true to himself. He's not an honest person, right? But actually, Suzaku, he's very nice. Like he's truly nice. He really thinks about other people. But but because of his past, and he also has a stubborn mindset as well. Like he has to obey the rules. He has to follow the system. Although he really wants to change the system, but because he's very stubborn and wants to obey the rules and also wants to die in order to sacrifice himself to protect people. I think sacrificing himself to protect other people is just like an excuse for him to just, die and give up on his life and stuff. But the good personality of Suzaku is true. All right, so there's also the refrain incident. Hmm. So in the refrain incident, remember that refrain is like kind of like heroin is like it's like an illegal drug. So during this incident, so that there really isn't much to talk about the details, but Suzaku shares a lot of his mindset in here. So he thought that the Black Knights should join the police to catch the criminals. So basically Suzaku is somebody who thinks that people should follow a system. So so the police may not be effective now, but they could change them from within. So so basically it means that probably the Black Knights could help change the police. But obviously, Lelouch wouldn't agree because he thinks that it it will take a very long time for the Britannian system to change from within. And he criticized that the Black Knights were forcing somewhat their own ideals without a clear standard to base on. So we don't know what standard they base that on. It's just one-sided self-satisfaction. So Suzaku, he wants to follow the system, right? So the Britannian system also forced the discrimination down to other people, and the Black Knights, they also kind of like forcing their own ideals onto other people as well. Especially the Black Knights, they said, so Zero said that the purpose of the Black Knights is to defend the weak, right? But like later on, Lelouch, he used the Black Knights for a lot of purpose. Not just defend the weak, but he also used people for his plan as well. For example, sacrificing the leader of the the Japan Liberation, the Japan Liberation Front. Remember the incident of he blowing up the ship? So Lelouch, he attached a bomb to the ship, and then he blew that ship up in order to attack the headquarters of Britannia, right? So that is not really defending the weak, right? But the Black Knights also kind of like saying that they defend the weak. So so that is like the dark part um of the politics right there. So you can see that Suzaku also has a point, saying that the Black Knights were forcing an ideal onto people. And Lelouch also thinks that Britannia forced their own ideal onto the people as well. So for the relationship circle now, Suzaku has also become friends with Euphemia and also the student council friends. But later on, you can see that Suzaku's circle of relationship isn't very diverse and is not as big as Lelouch, because Suzaku is more like somebody who works like in the army, and he has to care about the orders, right? He only has time to go and do some missions that his seniors gave him, and and basically his relationship circle is like very small, and he's more like, so kind of like whenever Zero appears, he will appear, but he cares about the mission more. And probably because Lelouch, he has to make a lot of relationship in order to receive help from other people. That's also a chance for Zero to, to create a lot of relationship with other people. Meanwhile, Suzaku, he only belongs to the army, and his mission is to assist the Britannian military force, right? So he doesn't have to expand his relationship circle. So, and most of the time, he has to focus on fighting Zero. So during the Narita fight, So remember the narrator fight? This is during the time when Cornelia has come to take care of the Area 11, which is Japan, and she decided to attack the headquarters of the Japanese Liberation Front, which situated in the Narita location, right? So Lelouch also has a plan to go there and interfere with Cornelia's plan. And Suzaku was also there. So when he was talking to Lloyd, Suzaku shared that he decided to join the military to prevent killing. So So I'm in the military because I don't want people to die. So this is very conflicting, right? Even Lloyd, even Lloyd, he has to say that that mindset is gonna kill him later. So I totally agree with that because if you join the military, it means that especially for Britannian system, you definitely have to engage in the act of killing and fighting. So when Suzaku said that, it's very contradicting. So after the fight with Cornelia, so because Cornelia, in this fight, remember Lelouch created like a landslide, right? He created a landslide and he kind of almost defeated Cornelia's army already. But because Cornelia's almost lost, she has to ask Suzaku for help. And and while and of course, Suzaku and the robot Lancelot, he fought with Zero, and actually Zero almost lost as well because Suzaku managed to corner him already, and Lelouch had to receive the help from Cece in order to get away from Suzaku. So Suzaku actually held back because right now Zero he didn't really kill many people yet. So basically Suzaku he thinks that Zero, I owe you a debt. A debt here is that back when Zero is rescuing Suzaku from Jeremiah's accusation. So basically Suzaku owes his life to Zero. However, Suzaku still thinks that Zero's actions, oh, right, your actions have saved people, and I know a lot of 11s, so 11s are the Japanese, are now secretly working with you, but still, your methods, they are wrong. Yeah, so basically, Suzaku, he still doesn't like Zero's way of doing things, although Zero saved his life, and many Japanese also support Zero. But oh well, they have different ideologies, so what can we do, right? But because that Zero has saved his life, Suzaku was still very hesitant in killing Zero. I wonder if I have a picture. Ah, I have a picture. Sorry, guys, should have shown it here. So what happened is that so I'm just gonna introduce this is Mr. Lloyd, the father of the landlord. So this is Mr. Lloyd here, and this is Cecile, who is Lloyd's assistant. And they were ready, they are getting ready they are asking Euphemia's permission to go and I wonder if yes, they are asking for Euphemia's permission to fight, to assist Princess Cornelia in the fight. All right, and this is when Lancelot and Suzaku were cornering, they were cornering Zero, right? So Zero is here, and this is Lancelot, and basically Suzaku, he was still hesitant to kill Lelouch because Lelouch was the one who saved his life. And you might wonder why Suzaku is looking at his father right now. It's because of CC. So, so CC, she came to assist to help Lelouch escape from being captured by Suzaku. By she used her power to and uh, and she made Suzaku relieve his painful memories. So basically, this is his father looking at him and probably very angry. Like his face was like very angry and making Suzaku feel guilty. So it's just like guilt tripping Suzaku, right? So because of this, he couldn't fight Zero anymore, and Zero and CC managed to escape. All right, so right. So I think after the Narita fight, Zero started to cause more death. So during the so after the Narita fight, right? So there are many people, there are citizens who lived at the Narita location and they got affected because of the landslide that Lelouch caused. And of course, Suzaku, Mr. Lloyd, and Miss Cecile also went there to participate in the campaign of retrieving the dead bodies and, you know, recovering whatever was damaged. And that was when he doubted what really was the true motive behind the action of the Black Knights, because there were so many deaths caused by the Narita incident. So he said, what do they hope to accomplish by causing all these deaths, right? So back then, I think, and because of that, because of this incident, Shirley's father, so Shirley is also a friend of Lelouch in the student council, and her father also died because of this landslide. All right, so after the Narita fight, the next fight would be Cornelius' ambush on the escape plane of the Japan Liberation Front's leader to foreign countries. So this is when the exploded ship happens, right? So from the Narita fight, there are more people die because of the war, and from that point on, the bloodshed starts getting worse, right? Lelouch also got affected by the death of Shirley's father, but he already walks on the path of bloodshed, and he decided to keep going on that path. And Suzaku also knows that that many people died because of the war, because of the fight as well. Yeah, so this is what he said after he went to Shirley's father's funeral. So Zero's methods are cowardly. He doesn't face the challenge himself. And all he does is use people, stir up trouble, then act like a judge and declare himself the winner. And anything gained by doing things the wrong way is just meaningless. Yeah, so basically he doesn't agree with Zero's methods of doing things. The problem here is that if we don't use the keys to get through the security of Britannia's guards, and if we if we didn't use the strategies like Zero did, could we possibly achieve something, right? Especially when Britannia's army is way much more powerful. They got the nightmares, they got the robots, they got better technology. So I think probably there is a chance of doing that, but it will take longer, right? And um and the anime they want to show the the moral dilemma by using the geese power. That's probably part of the reason why Lelouch also chose the path to destroy. So he got to play a part in Cornelia's plan to capture the leader of the JLF. However, in order to advance further in military, he was instructed by his senior to kill all the opponents except the target to prove his loyalty to Britannia. And this contradicted with his intention of preventing more deaths. So the senior here is Mr. Dalton. I think, yes, remember the guy that has a big scar on his face that I shared with you guys during my analysis of Lelouch. So I think this his name is Dalton, and he was the one who instructed Suzaku to, eliminate all of the Japanese except the target. So during the ambush on the JLF, the leader, right? So the keyword here is the leader. So we just need to capture the JLF leader, probably using him as a hostage to threaten the resistance or something. And um, so if anybody who is not the leader of the JLF and also the Japanese, then we need to eliminate them. And Suzaku was like, yeah, I don't want to do this. He would be a pacifier and he doesn't want to kill everybody, right? And and that is the reason why his ideology of joining the military to prevent people from dying is very contradicting, right? Yeah, so you're nothing but a murderer. Yeah, so this is when Suzaku was in a fight with Zero. So do you think Suzaku is right? He called Zero a murderer. So so it's true that Lelouch he killed the leader of the JLF by blowing up the ship, right? It is also part of his plan in order to attack the Britannians' headquarters. So it's kind of similar to Suzaku's action of killing his father, right? So Suzaku killed his father in order for many other people to live, right? Lelouch also does that. Lelouch, he sacrificed maybe one or a few people's lives in order to create the peace for the entire world, while Suzaku, he sacrificed his father's life to prevent people from dying. But the big difference is that Suzaku's action didn't end the war because the Japanese they have to unconditionally surrender. So because of that, the more wars actually happen. But for Lelouch, although he has to kill a few people or actually a lot of people, considering that he also kill people from the underground city. Um, like I said, I think Lelouch killed way much more people than Suzaku. But he also brought back a sustainable peace for the entire world, right? So, so saying that Lelouch is a murderer, maybe he is a murderer, but because he kills people, right? But it's the same thing goes for Suzaku. Suzaku later on also kills people, but they are working towards one goal, is to create a world with peace, no more war. So let's see. Okay, so my battery is running down and there might be pauses. So if that happens, then please forgive me. Um, so let's try to wrap up soon. There's also the incident of rescuing Ninale from Mao. So I wonder if I have pictures. Nope. Sorry for that, but during this incident, remember that Mao was the mind reader, right? So Mao after the incident with I think with Shirley. So basically Mao he approached Shirley first, and then the whole incident with Shirley knowing the truth about Lelouch being zero, and Lelouch has to erase her memories, right? So after that, um, Mao came back and he abducted Nunnally, and Lelouch has to go and find her, and Suzaku offered for help, right? And both of them work together to rescue Nunnally. So, so during this incident, Suzaku and Lelouch has to trust each other very much in order to rescue Nunnally. So, yeah, so after this event, we can see that they trust each other very much. And and basically it's just shows the strong bond between Suzaku and Lelouch, that's all. Although Lelouch already knew that Suzaku doesn't like Zero. Yeah, so Suzaku said a lot of bad things about Zero, like you are nothing but wait, not that. So basically they still don't know about each other's identity. But Lelouch knew that Suzaku didn't like Zero. Basically, that was when yes, that's right. It's during the refrain incident when Suzaku said that the Black Knight should join the police force in order to carry out justice, and also during the funeral of Shirley's father. So Suzaku also said a bunch of bad things about Zero, like all he does is use people, stir up trouble, act like a judge, and basically Lelouch knows, but they still work very well together. So it shows that Lelouch really respects Suzaku's own opinion towards the Black Knight. So So even though we are analyzing about Suzaku here, we can also see some parts in Lelouch as well. However, unfortunately, while after Suzaku successfully rescued Nunnally, right, and he ran to meet with Lelouch, and they were about to capture Mao. But when Suzaku he touched Mao's, and Mao was able to see Suzaku's true thoughts. So that was when his dark past was revealed and Lelouch was aware of Suzaku's past. So his true thoughts, he felt guilty about his father's death and wanted to atone for it by sacrificing his life while saving people. So even though I share about his entire mindset in the first place, that wasn't the point when his true thoughts were revealed. You have to watch until almost the middle of the season one in order to know what Suzaku really thinks. Yeah, so the reason why I put again Mr. Genbu, who is Suzaku's father, and also Mr. Taizo Kirihara, who's the head of the Kyoto house, is because after Lelouch know about the past of Suzaku, right? He knows that Suzaku killed his own father. So because the story was mentioned, those people who were related also mentioned. So that's the reason why I added them into Suzaku's relationship circle. That doesn't mean that he only knows about these people from this incident, but because those people are related to this event, that's why I added them in here. Suzaku already knew, of course, his father and Mr. Taizo Kirihara all the way from back then already. Okay, so I wonder if we can make it into Colonel Todo. Colonel, okay, I guess let's get this event done and we can take a break here. So rescuing Colonel Todo. So basically, Colonel Todo, who is he here? So this guy is Mr. Todo, and he's one of the very skillful fighter, and he used to achieve some kind of like a miracle. It has a name, but I don't remember. But he was able to defeat to defeat the Britannia's army in a fight, and people regard him as someone who can create a miracle because of that. And of course, he's a member of the Japanese Liberation Front. And he used to know Suzaku. He used to be Suzaku's teacher, maybe in martial arts back in the old days. And during this incident, Mr. Todo was captured by the Britannian army, and he was about to be executed. And upon hearing about his execution, Suzaku was very like frustrated because they knew each other. But then Lelouch he broke Toto's out of prison, and also he also got his own nightmare to fight. And basically Suzaku had to fight against Mr. Toto, and he was also struggling because Mr. Toto was his former teacher. However, Toto told Suzaku to stick to his own principle and tried his best. So Mr. Toto, he was very open-minded. He told Suzaku to fight for his own ideology, because unless you fight for what you believe in, then nothing gets done, right? So you should follow your own path. And so from this So from this episode, um, because you see that Mr. Toto managed to kind of like chop off the the opening, the top of the, I guess the piloting cockpit, right? So basically, the entire thing was exposed, and of course, Lelouch finally noticed that Suzaku was the one piloting the Lancelot, and that and basically from that point on, it got more complicated. And during this event, we also got to know about Suzaku's mindset is that denying society as it is now is meaningless, and you have to gain society's approval to get the power to change it. So that is how that is how Suzaku wants things to be, right? He wants to gain approval. And he wants to further enhance his will, and basically it shows that his will of changing society from within by using the right method, which isn't wrong. I think Suzuki, he has his own good reason for what he's doing. Like he cares about other people's opinions, right? That's great. But the thing here is that um in a society where is the strong oppress the weak, and there is a huge discrimination where the Japanese is totally like they don't have that much power, and the Britannian they have so much power, and they were even educated, right, to oppress people who are weaker than them, who are the Japanese. So with like an ideology like that, with a system like that, is it a good idea to gain society's approval? I actually think that it will work, but it will take a very long time for that to happen. I think in history, they're always like that, right? We have to have revolution to fight for our own rights. But obviously, those revolutions got wiped out, and it will take a very long time to actually make change in society and gain independence. But um, but it can totally happen. And within this context of Lelouch possessing the Geass power, I think that is when history was and politics will be debatable, right? What should be the best method? And that is this is where we're getting further into Suzaku's mindset. And this is also a turning point as well because Lelouch now is already aware of Suzaku's true identity. So I will stop here because my battery is running out. So thank you very much for joining and watching my sharing about Suzaku. And I'll be very happy if you can engage and share your own opinion about my sharing. And hopefully, we will meet again at the part two of Suzaku's sharing. Have a nice day.